Alright, welcome to the final round.
Slumdog already got taken out.
Yeah, I have no
Nothing
dogs
really
left in
made
this
it.
fight. No, I'm just kidding.
None of the slum variety.
The final Elite 8 rounds and ascending of FN Movie Podcast. The final part.
How much of this top 8? Okay, keep going.
It's just 2 from each one.
Oh, yeah.
Real professional, guys.
He's starting to
so-
touch my buttons, dude.
So hopefully we'll do a little bit more talking this time around rather than just picking a movie. So we're going to talk about the movies prior and how they compare with each other before we give our votes to kind of give people time to gel. So
I was going to say, get that penny. Bro, Mace is just feeding pennies to the cat.
She can carry a paper watch, but she can't eat a penny, huh?
Yeah.
all right, guys, let's do this.
So,
Mason,
first match of top 8.
Alright, our first match.
get us ready. Oh yeah, bracket should be below us.
In the description.
Yeah.
Yes. We're so collected. The first matchup is the 1 seed Jurassic Park versus the 5 seed Snatch. If you're wondering how Snatch made it this far, we're not sure either.
I'm okay with it.
Makes sense to me.
Oh, we can go ahead and talk through them a little bit before I think we give votes. I think the top 8 deserve a little bit
yeah.
more.
Yeah. Okay. It
It's
does
got your
deserve
10.
more. It does deserve more, and it's got my 10. But I'll tell you this. Snatch, good. Jurassic Park, better. Simple.
Yeah,
I know you wanted talking more, but dude, you can't tell me that a tried and true amazing classic that's timeless and beautiful and amazing and thriller and all of these great things about Jurassic Park that I'll continue to talk about in its next matchups is...
He's assuming it's one.
Yeah, I am going to assume it's one because you all are...
Snatch has taken down
Snatch
3
is...
other people that they
Snatch
probably
took down
shouldn't have.
Snatch has done a
Oh,
lot.
I did take out Inception.
It's done a lot for taking it, but you are fucking bonkers if you think that Snatch just should beat Jurassic Park on this one. You're insane. You're insane. If you do it, you're just doing it to be contrarian. Fuck you. Pick your
You
fucking
did that
thing.
before.
No.
You've done that already.
That's not true.
Penguin Highway.
I'm
I
gonna
didn't do that
leave
contrarian. I
it in
said I
Fate's
generally like it
hands.
more.
I'm also gonna pick Jurassic Park. Snatch.
We weren't doing picks yet. We're talking.
It would be a different story if Jurassic
Nah.
Park was up against Inception. I think that Inception is a better matchup. I think it's a better movie than Snatch, but Snatch did
Breaks
make
my
it
heart.
through. So therefore, I'm trying to look at this matchup, and there is no way in hell Snatch wins against Jurassic Park, in my opinion. It is a comedy action, but it does have that comedy attached to it, where it's just...
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand your all's hatred towards comedy. Like, if it has comedy anywhere in its vicinity,
I feel like...
everyone besides Nathan is
If you were
like,
to ask 100
smacking it
people
down.
on the street what would win between Jurassic Park and Snatch,
well, that's weird.
99 people wouldn't know who Snatch
That's
is.
everyone knows who would win.
That's weird. We only have 4 people on the podcast and not 100. It's really strange. We don't even have 100 subscribers.
Okay. Okay, humor us.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Please.
With what?
You're...
Pitch.
With the pitch for Snatch over.
If you're
Jurassic
picking
Park.
Snatch, go ahead and go with the
I
pitch.
just want to talk about the movies. Well, I was not
Because-
wanting to do picks yet. Because again, top 8, I think we should talk about it.
We've been talking.
I think
the thing is that at this point, though, we pretty much just talked about Jurassic Park because we've dismissed it as the easy winner for so long, and Snatch has fought. Like,
Yeah,
to
Snatch
be
is-
fair, Snatch has done a
his
brawl.
knuckles.
It's Pikey over here.
Yeah, it is.
Put
It
it
is
in the
Brad
hole right there,
Pitt.
Fred.
But you know what? He has to take the
Hey,
fall.
you know,
so I'm fine.
you're very confident right now, but I'll tell you what, if it's a pikey, he'll just up and trick you.
Shut
You're
the
gonna-
fuck up.
Hey, you're about to watch your big man fall, and you're going to lose all your money on this bet.
Great.
Right.
So the little man moves forward. Awesome.
So, I love Snatch. It was the upset for me that I had never seen before, and is one of the reasons why it's got so far, is because I was not ready for this movie when I saw it. I absolutely loved it. I hate to say it. I mean, Jurassic Park is still Jurassic Park.
Come on.
I keep thinking, like, is there something I can attack for its pacing? Its characters. I'm not even going to say score, that's pointless. But, like, the CG or anything like that, but everything holds up in it stupidly well. The T-Rex scene is one of my favorites in cinema. I mean, the very first time you see it, the water shaking, the animatronic coming out and freaking you out, it's just amazing from top to bottom. There's a reason, like, it just started a dinosaur hysteria everywhere, and it's one of the top grossing movies of all time. I love Snatch. I love it, but I still like Jurassic Park 1 more. Thankfully, we're not talking about sequels, as we made sure to talk about with The Matrix. Because if we took the sequels into effect, I'm kicking Jurassic Park when it's down.
Well,
it
to be fair, Snatch never had sequels, so you can't really contend
which is
against
good. It's
that.
just one contained.
Right.
It didn't need any sequels. Jurassic Park did not need any sequels. At all.
I actually, on my own bracket, had Snatch going for it.
Hell yeah.
Because I
Really?
I love Snatch, but I mean, that's fine.
I love your ambition and diversity, but my soul would not allow, like, it would leap out of my body.
You understand why my voice is gone when Nightcrawler was contending with brothers now, right?
I do want to ask Dylan one question. If it was Inception versus Jurassic Park, what would you have done?
I put on my bracket that it was Jurassic Park, but it was
Yeah.
unbearably hard, because these are interchangeably on any given day my number 1 and number 2 favorite movies
Yeah.
of all time. So
It is so stupid that of this bracket, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 seed were Dylan's movies, and the 5 seed actually.
so far, 4 of the 4 picks on our, or 4 of the 4 in these top 8 are my picks. So to be fair,
But Nathan, if I would have
Crushing
went
it.
Snatch on this one, would you have also followed me to do the tiebreak? I'm curious.
oh, he would have held. He would have diamond hand snatched on this one so hard. Are you kidding me?
I mean, now that you say that, yeah.
You would have?
I'm not letting go of Banana.
Mm-hmm. But to humor me, for humor's sake, Jill or Annabeth off screen. How would you?
They've not even seen
They just haven't
Snatch,
seen
and
Snatch.
it's Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And it's Jurassic Park. Thank you. All right. So
Yeah, it's Jurassic Park. And even if it was a
A
tiebreaker.
humble ending for Snatch.
yeah. You know what? Snatch had an amazing fucking run though. The fact that it was even
That
close,
was such a good
it was
sleeper
close to a tiebreaker. It
You
was
wanna-
definitely the black
You
sheep.
want to call a Cinderella team? It was probably Snatch.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The next
It deserves
matchup
What?
is a 3
A little more
seed.
gusto, Mason. Come on. It's the top 8.
Oh,
Come
come
on.
on, get in there.
Oh no.
I
We
need it
have
because these are my
Kill
babies.
Bill Volume 1 versus Warrior, the 2 and the 3 seed.
Ooh.
How are you doing this today?
Why are so many of my top 10s in
alright,
this top eight?
let me lead this one off.
Take it. I can't.
Warriors fights, like I'm including the Warrior fights with Kill Bill's action scenes. Warriors fight scenes are still so much more visceral and guttural that, like, I remember when I was done watching it, I was still in the MBA program at that point. I was in school, and like it kept me up a little bit because I was like,
I gotta go work out. Holy
Man,
shit, my traps aren't
this
big
is
enough.
insane.
Yeah.
And like that carries Warrior to the extent that it's at right now for me. But then I think about the drama, like, outside of the fights. If you think about outside of the fights, I personally did not enjoy the drama surrounding Warrior at all. I think Nick Nolte's character is overrated. He just plays this gravelly, gross old man that you're not supposed to like.
He's properly rated, Tommy.
And the fact that
Always
Tommy's
drunk.
the fact that Tommy's brother beats him at the end annoys
I
me
knew that was
to
gonna
no
There it
end.
is. There it is.
I have said this for so long. He should not have won. Tommy's been built up to be this absolute domination machine, and you all say, but Tommy's brother is the more technical one and like can play with him longer.
Right. So hold on.
Wait, let me finish my
Okay,
point first.
finish your point, and I want to get to the counterpoint.
But
on
what
that
I'm
one.
saying in summation is, as much as I enjoyed those scenes of Warrior, Kill Bill's drama outside of its action scenes that are still very, very good. Not as good as Warrior, but still very good. The story around Kill Bill is so much more interesting and so much more enrapturing. And it's got that Tarantino dialogue that's so fun to watch. And Warrior did not have that for me. So that's surprising for me. I thought Warrior would be a clear win for me.
So for humor's sake, though, I'll give you this: is that you have a problem with the ending fight, but the ending fight of Kill Bill Volume 1 is also Uma Thurman's character against Oshie Ren, and you're trying.
Uh-huh.
All right, and
What
sure,
about it?
in universe, like you're like, sure, Uma Thurman should win, but then you're
Yeah.
like, pretty Caucasian girl against Asian woman who's been doing samurai stuff her entire life, and that
has
ending
an
fight doesn't bother
assassin
you because
group.
it's
No, because the Tarantino movie is way more tongue in cheek
Oh,
than
yeah.
Warrior. Warrior is very, very grounded, and wants
Yeah,
you to
that-
remember how grounded it is. I mean, right before she fights her, she fights like 100 ninja at one time.
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say whenever you
Yeah.
were talking about like the fights in these movies is they couldn't be more different. Like you're talking about
highly exaggerated versus incredibly
you're talking
grounded.
about just
Right.
a caricaturized version of violence versus what's supposed to be very like very real, very grounded. Like the sounds of the fights in that are leagues higher than Kill
You
Bill.
feel every single punch, every drop, everything in Warrior. You're like, oh god, and it hits and resonates in such a very incredible, specific way. But I don't want to keep interrupting. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean,
I think that was his point. He was just
that was
saying
my
that to
point.
mine.
Was just saying that like these are very different, and to like
I don't know.
I think that Warrior is the far superior film just because it is so well rounded. I remember our review of that was like, yeah, I guess you could classify it as an action, but damn, it's a really good dramedy. But damn, it had some like really good, gut wrenching punch. It was so much of everything. While Kill Bill is, we were talking about satirical.
Satirical is the word
Satirical.
you're looking for.
Sorry, that's also
This is
what
the
my pick is
analogy.
going to be. Yeah.
Buffets, guys.
It's a buffet.
Don't forget
Japanese
buffet.
food.
Yep.
I just think that Kill Bill is no match, no pun intended, again for Warrior, just because like it hangs on those that dialogue for too long in a lot of scenes. Which again, this is not the Tarantino movie that we should be discussing.
That was the thing I was about to say too. Is like Tarantino's gonna get. He's
he's
gonna
gonna
get
get
the
some
ring.
shine.
Yeah.
He's
Like,
gonna
don't
get his
worry.
time. This
He's
is not
coming.
the one, though.
It just doesn't have to be this
I
one.
can hear the validation in wanting to edge out Kill Bill because you're just like, Inglourious Bastards also exists in
Yeah.
this brand.
Exactly.
You're like, too much Quentin Tarantino is
But-
represented.
I'm not one to discount it. I still think Kill Bill is the more well-known movie for a reason.
and
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 I think came out at the exact same time because they were meant
No,
to
they
be,
were
Well,
year
1 year
apart.
apart.
well, they were meant to be one movie though.
They were meant to be a movie.
Yeah.
So we could sit here and argue that we don't argue about sequels, but this is very much meant to be
Nope.
two different movies.
No, I cannot count the second one with them because if that's the case,
I know, that's what I'm saying.
if that's the
I-
case, then it's gonna be Warrior.
I would
but
take it down a notch just because of that if I had
I
to.
can't.
But Warrior is so much better.
Okay. I've come to my decision. Not that.
Okay.
I don't know if that matters or not.
I hope it doesn't.
I hope it doesn't either.
This is hard for me because again, the other movies in my top 10, like Kill Bill, has this incredible tone of exaggerated, tongue-in-cheek, fun anime, real life Quentin Tarantino. Like it is so many elements of things that I like in one single movie. But let me minimize it for a second and take a step back. And the action is more eccentric and over the top in Quentin Tarantino-y, yes. But if you told me, is the action more important than Warrior or Kill Bill, I'd probably say Warrior because it's
yeah.
the
I
hits
agree.
all hit harder. The vibes are all way more important. Every single punch that lands is something that matters. But you could cut up 1,000 Asian people, or maybe not even Asian people, depends. I don't know. In the Crazy 88 scene or something like that. And while I love both of these, you tell me about the drama, and the Kill Bill drama is excellent as well. But for me, the dad story with Tommy and God, all the way to the Ahab scene when he goes up and the dad is like relapsed on him and all that stuff, like that drama it edges out Kill Bill's drama for me. So if I'm saying that the drama is a little better for me in Warrior, and then the action is arguably a little better than in Kill Bill's, even though Kill Bill brings so much other interesting stuff to the table, I have to give it to Warrior just because I'm just more emotionally gripped by it.
All right, we ready for votes then? I think we know what it is. But...
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start from the end over there with Mason.
Mason's
Warrior
already typing in
by
Warrior.
a
Dylan, what you got? You got Warrior?
I've got to land on Warrior.
I've got Kill Bill, surprisingly.
Warrior.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I can see
I
that.
want to cut my own arm off for not picking Kill Bill, though, because it seems so
I
strange.
know, like,
feel
I thought I should be the one picking Warrior, but the drama outside of it
they're both
is really what...
they're both so heavy for
doesn't
me.
get
It hurts my heart.
So those were the two that made it from the first.
Yep. First quadrant.
Yeah, so
Yep.
now we're into the next one, which is Nightcrawler, a 1 seed versus a 13 seed. No Country for Old Men.
The little engine that just keeps on going, dude. Like,
I can't believe I've had to fight
the
so
funny
hard for
thing is, I
Nightcrawler.
didn't let No Country go very far on my list.
but now that it's going,
I'm feeling it.
now that it's got the momentum, it's this little engine that could with it. Honestly, Nathan, I'm kind of with you on this, right? So like, and it's funny, like Nightcrawler definitely deserves its number 1 seating, but I almost
it
feel like
does.
that No Country for Old Men doesn't deserve its 13 one. Like after discussions and review on it, like the more I keep talking about it, the more I keep
Coen Brothers,
remembering.
isn't it?
Yeah, and like I remember thinking like Price's big rep was like it's shitty Coen Brothers. Fuck that writing. I'm like, something in that ballpark or range on.
I would,
but,
okay, if we're arguing that, I would rather watch Oh Brother Where Art Thou, right?
Yes.
But this is what we're left with. This is on the list.
Right, but
But you gotta remember that Nightcrawler was a 1 seed for a reason. I will take part of the blame for that 13 on the seeding. I mean, I probably
yeah, your
did-
score tanked that for medium.
I
seed,
wasn't
so.
like that low. Like I may have tanked it like it should be maybe 5 spots up. I will give it that because I may have.
In review,
Yeah,
seeing the 13.
That's fine. But Nightcrawler is a 1 for a reason because it starts out with the tone and sticks with it the entire time. It's a very concise story that tells a very important story that you're not aware of. No Country for Old Men, again, it is a good movie. I voted for it last time. But it's still overly long, and the story still didn't get at me as much. I get it that the villain in No Country for Old Men is great. Bardem, forgot his whole name.
Javier Bardem.
He is very menacing, but he still feels like a caricature in a story that is very much supposed to be grounded. Whereas Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler is a very evil, realistic character in a realistic setting. So he fits... To me, he fits the story way more than Bardem does. As enjoyable as Bardem is to watch, he still feels like a character out of place in a otherwise real situation. And forgot what's his name in Nightcrawler? It's like Louis Bloom.
Who?
You ever remember in Nightcrawler?
Which guy though? Like
Jake Gyllenhaal.
oh, like his actor?
Oh, like
or the
the
character
name of the
name?
character?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't remember.
So it
Oh,
doesn't really
okay,
matter,
yeah.
but he still feels way more a part of this setting because it's really seedy, it's dark, it's gross, and he fits that to a T. His hair is greasy, his eyes are bugging out of his head, and the supporting cast still, as I said earlier when I lost my voice fighting brothers, the supporting cast
Well deserved.
the supporting cast is there too. It doesn't have the big Josh Brolin Thanos guy behind him, but I mean it still has that Indian guy that I love
Riz
so
Ahmed.
much. Yeah,
The
and
one whose name you don't remember?
yeah,
The one who you think is in everything.
Yeah. That you interchanged with
I
other
did
Indian
not.
actors. Yeah, you know, Riz Ahmed from Slumdog Millionaire.
Sorry, Nathan's trying to make an
So-
actual point.
Yeah.
It's a really tight run thing between these two. One thing I will say to No Country for Old Men's credit is its story takes turns that you don't expect and surprises you in ways that Nightcrawler doesn't really surprise you. Like, once you understand this character, it's just like, what's the depths of depravity and how far do we go down the rabbit hole?
And plus, like with Nightcrawler, it shows him progressing more and more in his field. He just gets better and better and better. There is no, yes, he loses that guy. That's the only plot
But it's really
twist.
good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, No Country for Old Men, and it's the way that it has you rooting for somebody to make it out of an improbable situation, and you're just like, he's gonna do it. Like, man, he's really managing it. And then he dies off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Or whenever he meets
That guy's wife.
the guy that knows Javier Bardem.
Oh,
that-
the
Yeah.
other, like,
It's
hitman
Woody
guy.
Harrelson.
Yeah, the other,
Harrelson.
Woody
Yeah.
Harrelson. He meets him, and it's like you feel like, oh, maybe this is gonna be the
He's-
one that's like
he's gonna
he
get his
wants
now.
to stop Javier
Mhm.
and is gonna do it, but no, he
just
dies
takes
too.
care of him, yeah.
It's like nobody makes it, and it at so many points it just hits you in the side, like how he gets hit in the side right at the very end by just some lady
Yep.
in a car,
Just the random-
and just keeps on going.
Mhm.
It's,
Which is arguably one of the best parts of the movie, and you're still like uneasy by the time he hobbles
Yeah.
away in some kid's shirt and on his bike or something.
Mm-hmm.
I can't agree more. I think The Nightcrawler is a great movie, but I think at a certain point, it's matched up against something like this, or maybe even if it moves forward, it can't go the distance. I think that we're gonna keep kind of jabbing it a little bit, and it's finally gonna fizzle out.
I've said my piece on it.
No Country for Old Men, it's a cat and mouse. I said it last round. It's just you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know at what point someone. When this guy's at the motel, you're not sure if this guy's been at the motel yet. You're not sure if he's been there and gone to the next stop. You're not sure if he's right behind him. You just never know, and I love that. So, my vote, if we're casting, is
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dylan's saying something.
I mean, my whole last piece on it is that, you know, honestly, I'm glad that this is a match that happens because no matter what way you look at it, they're both incredible dramas with, characters who are definitely pushing the envelope. Nightcrawler's character definitely pushes the envelope a little bit further, I think, for his progress into, like, the sense, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, I wouldn't say it's a discredit to Javier Bardem because he starts off at, like, you see from the very beginning, like, his depths. And it doesn't necessarily excel further from that. It's more so the plot around him, just putting him in situations that really push him forward, where, Nightcrawler's extremely focused on Jake Gyllenhaal's thing.
It's more of a character development, whereas
right.
this, like, Javier Bardem's character doesn't develop. He is who he is.
Just
and
awful.
You're just seeing that play out as he rolls across the film.
Right.
I mean, it's a good matchup at least. These actually feel like they should be
this is genre against genre, right? Like, this is an appropriate
Yeah.
match, and I'm so glad this is actually a match that happens with it. But
And plus, with No Country for Old Men, how much daylight is in it, it's a very dark, like, feels like a nighttime kind of movie with all the crap that's going on. While Nightcrawler is specifically
And
in
it's
the dark.
also got a lot of funny moments, too, like whenever he's going into that store, like, not wearing any pants, and it's like, I need some clothes.
Need some of those boots again, or something.
Right.
Like
Sounds
that.
like it's part comedy, Mason.
Uh-oh. I messed up.
Mason's like,
no.
fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, Jurassic Park's a comedy, too.
Yeah, Jurassic Park.
Definitely.
Jeff Goldblum is both pure comedy and pure drama at the same time. It's amazing.
So are we about ready to...
Yeah.
start
You started
making
out,
calls
Nathan.
on this?
Yeah.
Start it up, buddy.
It's real close. Like, it honestly is, but I do, weirdly enough, think that Old Country for Old Men, or No Country for
Old Country for No Men.
Yeah, brought it up again.
I think in this matchup, for me, it does take the edge.
Unfortunately for me, it's not close in my opinion. For me, I've greatly enjoyed my time with Nightcrawler more. It's more laser focused in its desire to tell its story through one character, whereas No Country for Old Men, as good as it is telling a bigger story with a villain that, as good as he is, still doesn't feel like he fits in that world quite as well.
By a razor-thin margin, I'm going to have to give this one to No Country for Old Men.
Okay.
I think so much on the sentiment and going back with it. If I have to say that they're so similar as dramas, as deep, dark character pieces, as dark things moving through our interesting world, entertainment value is what the last thing I can think of. And I just think that I find Javier Bardem's character a little bit more entertaining than...
You talk about him all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it is incredible. Like, he is very magnetic on the screen, and not that Jake Gyllenhaal isn't, but if you put them, like, two screens together and they're both playing, my eye probably leans a little bit more towards Javier for that one. So.
You know what I'm going to send Nightcrawler away with? You know what the best transition of that whole movie was? Whenever he was, like, time had passed and he had upgraded that ugly little
Not to the Charger.
Camry to the bright-ass red Challenger, which was the brightest thing in the entire movie, and it was meant to be that, too.
Right.
Like, it was the coolest part.
Gosh, there's so many good moments in that. I don't know, like in the big moments in Nightcrawler are more subtle too, which I really liked. Like one of the ones
that was its qualms though with me was like there wasn't any payoff.
But
with
the
him,
one like I'm
improving.
thinking of is like near the end of the movie where he's the very very first one to the car crash scene or something, and he like moves the dying bodies.
That's
into
the
the
thing
spot.
about this
It's
is
just-
As
this
being
is a
grounded to sit down,
progression.
right?
Yeah. I mean, and like it peaks probably at the moment where he goes into the house with the family shooting there, and
Yeah,
then
that's
it
definitely
gets to like where he moves the dead bodies, and then it gets to the inevitable end where he stages a whole shooting. So but good pairing. That's the first one I felt like I can see that. That makes sense.
That's a great fight.
Yeah.
Our next one is Princess Mononoke versus Inglourious Basterds.
Dang it.
Those top two seeds.
Price,
I
welcome to the
love
paint
both
train
of
now,
those.
buddy. I feel like I insist on Price going first with this because
He's gonna have the pick for all of us.
yeah, like, you know what? You figure it out for us, buddy.
I adore both of those, and you all know I do.
Welcome to my world at the top left bracket, man.
You all talk first. I'll have to think for a second.
Inglourious Basterds is the one movie that Tarantino I will give a full pass on. I think that it's done very, very, very well. It makes up for a lot of his other movies, including Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Hateful Eight, all of those that we've talked about before. I think that Princess Mononoke brings a lot to the table. It will stay relevant in 2050. It will still be around, and that's fine. But Inglourious Bastards, while Kill Bill might be Dylan's favorite Tarantino movie, if I had to pick a favorite, it would definitely be Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah,
so
I
that one
agree.
wins for me.
It's the best one he's ever made.
Yeah.
Dang it. I agree.
Yeah, this is like the third one, best one he's ever made.
Inglorious, I would say, takes it for me as well. I wish we could have more of a discussion around this, but I feel like we're going to have more of a Ghibli discussion with Spirited Away. Comes up here in a minute.
Exactly, and this is the same situation.
And
I don't feel bad about
and,
Kill
and if
Bill,
we're
though.
and if we're
We got more
picking
Ghibli.
between like how kind of pick between Kill Bill and Inglourious Bastards, Inglourious is going to win. If I'm picking between Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, I'm probably very slightly giving it to Spirited Away, but still to Spirited Away, even though I really enjoyed Mononoke. So we'll save that for later.
This one's gonna be painful.
All right, what we got?
We got a 1 seed versus a 4 seed. Prisoners versus Train to Busan.
All right,
Easiest one on the whole fucking top 8 bracket. Are you kidding me?
See,
Prisoners.
I've rewatched Prisoners this week, and as I said earlier, it's when you know the ending to some of these movies about the ride, it doesn't make it as enjoyable when you go
It
through
hurts
the
it a
movie
little,
as a
yeah.
whole.
It
And
does,
it
it hurts
sucks
it.
because I loved this movie when Mason picked it the first time. I mean, I bought it as soon as I could. And I watched it about 2 years later, just this week. And it really is kind of dry and and I would, much as I would really like for a Jake Gyllenhaal movie to keep going, it doesn't really have the legs, I think. Sorry?
I'm pretty sure it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
It's a long movie.
Like I didn't realize how long it was, and I told Katie
Yeah.
we were gonna watch it.
Like, I've not watched it since we...
That's why I had to
Yeah.
rewatch it. Yeah.
That's... And, I mean, there is something to be said for, like, on rewatch, it loses a lot whenever you know
Yeah.
what happens at the end.
Who it is?
But,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well-
a big one.
but also, I mean, that first watch through
It's great.
is great.
Right.
Like,
That's what you should be
such a-
basing so much of your value on the score with, is like whenever you first watch it.
It's like watching Remember Me for the first time. You don't know what it's about.
Thanks, Nathan.
Make
That's
sure to
the
go
most
watch Remember
honorable
Me.
thing you've said.
See, but for me personally, like the rewatch is
Rewatch
most
is
important for me when
It's
like I'm
definitely
picking between two good movies. Which good movie would I want to rewatch? Just like you all been doing the whole time. If you plop them down in front of me, and I've seen them both before, which one am I going to pick? And Train to Busan is the one that's way more concise. It's an appropriate time length, and it's enjoyable the whole time. Whereas Prisoners does have those. I'm not even gonna say enjoyable, but those high moments where like Hugh Jackman is really getting to flex his acting muscles, which is so great
And-
to watch.
And I know we say a lot about Jake Gyllenhaal and those other movies and those other brackets. I think that this might be one of his best performances. He's just this detective guy that's gritty, and he will slam some dude's face against the table.
Mm-hmm.
He's not afraid to go there.
Yeah.
I just love him in it too.
Yeah, he's really good in it too, but Hugh Jackman in it easily
Huge
steals,
Jackman.
steals it for
Terrence
me.
Howard.
And
Yeah.
just and his character is set up so well because at the beginning of the movie he's talking with his son about how like prepare for the best, expect the worst, something like that. And you're like, okay, he seems a little bit crazy. And then you see his downstairs, it's like he has a whole bunker full of like
he was ready
food
for
in case
bad stuff to
the
happen.
zombies from Busan travel over the bracket into his movie.
Right.
And
They did.
and then you like slowly see him like when he's put in this tight situation of like his wife is falling apart, his son's falling apart. He's like, all right, time to break out the big guns. I'm gonna kidnap this bitch. Don't know if he did it or not, but I want to put this kid through hell. And boy, does he put him through hell.
He just gives him a shower.
I don't know if
what
he'll-
you're complaining
I
about.
did not remember till the rewatch about how he boards up the bathtub,
Oh.
closes him off completely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that
No,
that is just awful. Even though
it's hard to watch.
yeah, I'm not gonna totally spoil the end, but man, Hugh Jackman does not do too well for himself in this movie.
Just digs a hole.
But again, to talk it more as a whole, Busan still is super enjoyable to me upon rewatch. Somebody else go.
Busan is a fun ride when it's fun, but I just remember thinking like there were times that I was super annoyed with that film, and I
Just
hate
the bad guy.
not even just a bag. Like there's probably other moments I can't think of right off the top of my head. Like I'd have to like either watch a review again or at least rewatch the movie to remember what super bothered me. But I remember thinking for a film that's best thing is popcorn entertainment value. I'm annoyed too much with it for that, you know? Like, if you're going in
Yeah.
with a movie that you're just like, okay, I want to enjoy myself from start to finish, not think too hard, and it's a nice 70-minute flick. And, like, 20 of those minutes, I'm like, fuck you, movie. I'm like, I have a problem with that. So, maybe on rewatch, and I haven't gone back to rewatch Prisoners, to be fair, is the knowing the ending and all that stuff maybe going to hurt the detriment on the score? Probably so. But I think that just seeing... I mean, we talk about, like, how much Nightcrawler or any of these other films were, like, descents into madness, but seeing an incredibly validated moment with his dad losing it because his kid has been taken away, and now like he's getting toyed with, and this entire time the investigation is going on, like, that for me was, like, one of the most true, valid descents into darkness, but totally for a reason, and I love the thin line of saying, like, he's a hero in his eyes, but he's got to do any extent he can, and it's like, if you're in that position, what do you do? And
it makes you. It's a movie that makes you think like, I could be that monster.
yeah, you're like, oh, I could be
You're
a
never
villain.
gonna
I was
know.
like,
I
right.
could do that.
Right.
See, like you think that, and then when you actually are shown it, and you're Terrence Howard, and it's like you have to be
Yes.
the one pulling the trigger on it. Like, okay, never mind.
And honestly,
Maybe not.
Terrence Howard, who doesn't even particularly shine as like a great actor in this movie,
Plays
just
himself in it, yeah.
right, but just plays the best part.
Yeah,
Just
he
this
does.
foil mirror that is just like, take a look at yourself, dude. Holy shit! And you're
Yeah.
just like, do you not get it though? And then at the same time, like when he kind of gets them on board in that way, it's just like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
Remember he got Viola Davis in there?
yeah,
Like, he ran to his wife after, like...
Yo,
and
I
then
think
she
this
was the
dude
one
is
that-
fucking
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
dog.
He
Like-
brings his wife there, and
Uh-huh.
they see the shower
Yeah.
situation, and Hugh Jackman's like, "You want him out? Here you go." And then Terrence Howard's like, "Okay, I'm gonna get him out." And then his wife is like,
no.
"No,
Leave him.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
he gonna get it."
Yeah.
So,
Well, dang it.
yeah, so I think this is a really good fight, because a lot of the times, too, whenever we match these together, is like, do you have to be completely invested in this movie from start to finish? I think both of these movies you have to be. The problem is, Train to Busan, you have to be because of the subtitles. It is
Fair.
not dubbed. It is only subbed. So you will miss things, and you will...
I don't know. I
miss
could have a rough
topics.
idea of what's going on
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
that.
Yes,
like-
you can.
If this had
Train
no
to Busan
subtitles.
is entertaining, but I don't think it has to be as engaging as Prisoners ends up being.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Do
agree.
you all remember how dumb the ending on Busan was? Does anybody remember that?
Yeah, I
them
remember.
walking through the tunnel
and
at the end,
singing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little tough.
Yeah, pretty
I don't
It's
wanna
like, oh, we're
spoil it
walking
again.
into a
Yeah.
tunnel of darkness, but I'm gonna start
Yeah.
singing and nobody's going to stop me, and
Yeah.
that's gonna magically make the guys with the guns not shoot me.
And
in the
no
head.
zombies run after them.
To be
Yeah.
fair, though, zombies don't make singing noises.
I mean,
So,
That-
but
That's why
neither do
that's why
people
they
in the
didn't
zombie
shoot.
world
Yeah,
because
but-
they're zombies.
yeah, exactly. They're
Yeah.
walking into a dark tunnel.
yeah.
Fuck you, Train to Busan. It's Prisoners. That's
Yeah,
my vote.
I would think you'd want to be as quiet as possible, so if you hear some shuffling or
Right.
something, you know, like, oh, gotta get out of here.
All right, that's my vote.
All right, let's we'll start from Dylan and go out this time.
Prisoners.
As much as I was talking about Busan trying to boost it up, in my opinion, and how Prisoners, I mean, I gave Prisoners a really high score. I would probably take it down a point, maybe a half, but still, I still would have to give it to Prisoners instead of Busan.
Hugh Jackman does a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And deserves to move
What do
on.
you do, Mason?
You know, I actually kind of had Busan going, but
You
I,
wild boy. You wild.
Well,
You wild.
It's because though, like we're talking about length of movies, and
Yeah,
I would
Prisoners
imagine
is chunky.
on the second watch of Prisoners.
Sure, you could watch Train to Busan 2 or 3 times and
I
do
am
whatever you
curious
want
if it
for the
really
day.
is that long.
And
I'm gonna look-
it's
I'm
2
gonna look while
hours
you
and
announce the next
30
one.
or 2 hours 40. All right, our next matchup is Captain Fantastic versus 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Ooh.
Damn it.
This is a hell of a matchup, actually.
This is all my stuff right
yeah,
here.
buddy.
This
You
is my
were taking over the
bracket.
bracket.
Dang, it is 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll start.
That's
I
a
think that
chunky movie.
gosh, these are so different. You want like an enjoyable, fun ending and an enjoyable ride, you go with Captain Fantastic. But if you want just a bottle episode of just tension, you go 10
Yeah.
Cloverfield Lane.
These things couldn't be more different. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Captain Fantastic leaves you feeling happy inside
Hopeful.
and uplifted and hopeful
Yeah.
and like
I disagree.
whimsical.
I think that 10 Cloverfield Lane makes me feel that way too, but in a different way. I'm like, yeah, let's kill them fucking aliens! Like-
Meanwhile, 10 Cloverfield Lane has you just like on eggshells, feeling tension for what, an hour and a half
Yeah.
straight.
I mean, it's just pure thriller versus pure drama.
Yeah.
Like-
Talk about wearing you out with Mad Max. 10 Cloverfield
It-
Lane.
No,
wear
but
me
Cloverfield
out.
has better pacing than Mad Max,
Yeah.
though. Like,
Oh,
say what
yeah.
you want.
But I'd
they-
say still.
their thriller elements knew how to say, let it up, let off the pedal, let off the
Like,
pedal.
well, didn't they play like Monopoly or something? At some
Yeah,
point?
they
That
played
was
board
just-
games.
Shoots and ladders. I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, shoots and
I
ladders.
remember something like that. Man, why is this so tense?
Mason,
We're
what's
just
your...
playing Monopoly, but man, I'm just on the edge of my seat.
I know. Mace, what's your takes on this? These are two of your
Yeah,
favorites on the
it's your
favorites.
2 picks here.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
Holly's
I had to
picking.
do Prison or Mononoke and Inglorious,
Glorious,
so
When
you
it-
got shoot one of your babies.
When it comes to genre mashups, I'll always lean towards thriller horror. It's just a matter of like, you know, I think I gave Captain Fantastic an 8.5, while 10 Cloverfield is a 9. I think I would definitely put 10 Cloverfield Lane ahead, but that is nothing against Captain Fantastic. I would rewatch Captain Fantastic at any point. I gave my pitch against Casino Royale, and I think all of the kids are just impeccable in it. The grandparents that are just obviously looking out for their grandchildren, they don't think that this is a healthy lifestyle. Like, all of
It's
that
not.
to me makes sense. It all makes sense in their story. The only unrealistic thing is that they drive to that funeral and, you know, and just fucking wreck it. But it's fun. That is where the comedy comes out of.
Comedy?
I did say it.
Oh!
Let's say
Ding, 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 ding.
But like Dylan said, this is Nathan said, this is a hopeful, nice, energetic ending versus 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is, it's wild. I would push 10 Cloverfield Lane myself.
Looking at
Not
these...
voting yet, Mason. Spoiler.
I am breaking your system.
Yeah.
Your system sucks.
Well, Captain Fantastic's great, and Dong's hung and everything, and boy, nobody appreciates that more than me.
That movie's probably got the longest amount of dong. hanging.
Yes,
I
it
know,
does. Bronson.
Bronson, yeah.
Nah,
that's
bro.
Bronson.
Luckily,
yeah.
it's not on here.
Damn shame.
Butter me up, butter me up, butter me up.
Not in the crack you cut!
No, that was my favorite part
Dude,
of that
that is
movie.
by far the best part of the movie. But,
He's like, all right.
so, that being said, Captain Fantastic, with all of its, sometimes playful and inappropriate nudity, all things considered, is truly just, like, it's a gem. Like, it is. It is somehow a drama, but it stays in this uplifting tone that lets it just dip whenever it needs to, and I think it threads the needle just right with its tone. But 10 Cloverfield Lane is just one of these excellent prime things of a thriller that keeps you guessing. It's one of these strange things that I think, for some people, it may even benefit from not knowing the whole universe, because you guys went in not even watching Cloverfield Lane, and you came away better for the experience.
Absolutely, it was better
Right.
for not knowing.
And I think that's an amazing thing for a sequel to do. Like, I think that's something that we rarely ever talk about, seeing a sequel excel and not only making sure that you don't feel dumb or wasted for not watching the first film, but using that to its advantage and playing with it in such a great and tasteful way.
Dylan, you get a check mark for the day.
Yeah, I
for
got
that
the-
little point.
I've got the biggest brain, so...
You do not like Foxcatcher.
That's why
Need
Foxcatcher
I
lost.
remind
That's
you?
my Foxcatcher is right there, buddy. That's my
You
Foxcatcher.
spit on it.
Yeah.
You spit on
I
it.
spit on it and kicked it because that's where it belongs. And whatever. Price doesn't want us to tip our votes, but I'm going in with my vote. I think 10 Cloverfield Lane, for that reason, is just exceptional in its way. It's unique and it's exciting and it's a thrilling thriller. There goes my brain. There you go.
I still think we should do it all at one time. It makes it so much more exciting. But
Okay, well, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Ah!
Wait from you too?
Yeah.
Not Captain Fantastic.
Like,
Yeah, you did
if
love
we're
Captain
talking about, I think both of these movies are incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, Captain Fantastic is checks all my boxes for the kind of things that I like, which is great. But 10 Cloverfield Lane is such a good movie. It's one of the best thrillers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's probably the best thriller.
We haven't talked enough about John Goodman, I think. We talked a lot about Jake Gyllenhaal and Nightcrawler and Bardem and No Country, but
let's all agree
John
how
Goodman's presence in this movie, cannot be understated.
Roseanne, am I
I
right?
know. Even more so than that, right? For you to come from that background and and show how much of an intimidating figure you can be. Like,
Yeah.
Javier Bardem is one of these people who could be intimidating, and then Jake Gyllenhaal shows that, like, I mean, he's always been in a drama background to some extent or another.
Yeah.
But for John Goodman to not only shake the Roseanne vibes and show that he can just be this monster of a person, like,
Wonder what
I mean,
ever
you-
happened to her.
I mean, you think of like America's dads. Like I would
Right.
first think of Uncle Phil.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
No, I would think Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince, and then probably Roseanne's dad or whatever.
Sure, okay.
It's just delightful. Then he goes into this role.
Right.
Nobody agrees with me, but I do.
Alright,
I'm
so
glad
10
you agree with
Cloverfield.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alright, so
It moves on. Our next matchup is Your Name versus The Matrix. We're in our last two fights of this round.
Dylan, you're talking about spinning earlier. I spit on this matchup. Not even close. in my opinion.
I'll save the brevity on it and say that as much as I love The Matrix, and it owns every bit of its spot where it's at right now. Yeah, Your Name is great, and it's... I don't feel it's close enough for me to argue to sit there and say that, like, this is the case. And I'll defer to Nathan to want to fight for it on this one, but I'm probably going to tip it to Your Name in this one. I won't lie to you. I'm not going to waste people's time on that.
Yeah.
If Nathan sells
Nathan
if Nathan paper hands on The Matrix, it's got to go to Your Name. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
We're dating this.
yeah, it is. It's Your Name.
I think The
It's
Matrix has gone a long way. It took down Penguin Highway. Shocker, I guess.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It took down The
For
Departed.
me, that was a
It
big
should
deal.
not have taken down The Departed.
That's fine.
It's fine. It deserves it.
And for this matchup, it is Spirited Away versus V for Vendetta. I'm going to preface first and say I don't care.
He's like, both of these movies
Are you
don't belong in
abstaining?
mine.
I was
That's fine.
against pretty much everything. Yes, every single matchup.
Mason, that's
so far.
fine. You're staying in character.
Do you pick Silent Hill over either of these two? Just
Yeah.
for the record.
I would pick Silent Hill over V
Wow.
for Vendetta for sure.
Damn. You wild boy. You wild.
I just like horror. I thought that they did really well with the
Nathan,
horror.
I feel like
Silent Hill's
I feel like this conversation is going to be us doing the swing vote. So I think we're both going to have to pitch our cases to
That's probably fair.
Big Brain here, because I believe we both know where each of us are going. So I think both of our arguments need to be directed toward this beautiful Big Brain right here.
Uh-huh.
And since I came up with that point, you got to go first, because I'm taking a drink of water.
Well, I mean, Spirited Away is timeless, a classic. One of the best Ghibli films that's ever been made.
Arguably the best, even, by a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, and I would say it's definitely, Your Name and Spirited Away are gonna, if they do butt heads with one another, it's gonna be a very close run thing.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be like just the conversation of new age animation versus a
Right.
traditional.
It is truly a fight that's been had several billion times before. Our
Yeah,
podcast
like,
has touched
this
it,
is
right?
this is a conversation that I'm sure has gone down many, many times. Whereas V for Vendetta is, I don't know, it tells a very interesting story. I don't know, it just the characters, the way that the actors were able to portray them, the fact that you spend a lot of time in Natalie Portman's shoes, and
It's a place I want to be spending.
Hey!
Sorry. Continue.
and find yourself often questioning V's motives through a lot of this, because at first you're just like, oh yeah, he's just a revolutionary, and then eventually you figure it's like, no, he's just on a vengeance path.
Yeah.
And ultimately giving the choice to her and everything. Like, it's, I don't know, I just think it's a really well told story. It's my kind of movie, though, ultimately, and it is such a middle finger to the people in power Like, I mean, I've even got the mask, you know. Like,
Yeah.
what edgy,
Right.
like, what edgy wannabe anarchist teenager didn't
Doesn't
get
have
that
that
mask?
kind of
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, I'll go now. So,
I wonder where you're going.
what all are we gonna say about this? So,
This one has a fucking dragon in it, no questions.
I mean, I am going to
Done.
preface it by saying I really did enjoy V for Vendetta. I mean, I like the best scene I remember in it is when V is up there like orchestrating
And
the
like
explosions.
nothing's happening yet.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, and now here comes the horns.
And the
Here are
strings are coming
Yeah.
out. Yes.
Like it has so many fun moments in it. The V's monologue at the beginning very much stands out. Like I think it's the alliteration one.
Yeah,
the
with
V.
the two
Yeah.
singers.
Right.
It does have its moments and is very good. But if we're talking about top to bottom classic, Spirited Away is definitely going to be it. I mean, I think it's the first animated movie to ever get like a best picture nod. I know it won best animated picture over Pixar, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
And from top to bottom, the world of Spirited Away is so interesting that even though it doesn't, like, the movie never tells you how it works, it never like has that moment where you have one character walking the other character through there like, oh, this is that, this is why we do this. It just shows you and you extrapolate what's going on based on that. The very first scene where the prince dragon guy is taking the girl around,
Hawker.
yeah,
Yeah.
and is leading her around, just like trying to sneak her through, and there's all this crazy stuff going on. You feel as like out of place and scared as she does because she doesn't understand what's going on. And eventually, by the end of the movie, she has fully come into herself because that's what the movie is about: is her finding herself and her confidence and being true to herself. Like she's like running the place, and you know by the end you have that iconic scene of the pigs there, and like the witch is like,
You gotta find your
yeah,
parents,
if you can
right?
find your parents, like, well, they're not here. And like, and the score in it from top to bottom is Joe Hisayashi's best work besides, I would say, Princess Mononoke. Both of these are absolutely beautiful movies. And the moment I think that really makes this movie stand out in particular is the moment that the movie gives you to breathe whenever she's on the train across the water to go visit that woman. Like, it's just her and No Face just sitting there, like, not doing anything, just letting you have that kind of reprieve, letting you take that breath before you get thrust right back into the action and into the climax of the movie, which it just brings you right back and just never lets you go, and is such a beautiful world.
I don't know why, but like one of the main characters that I remember from Spirited Away was that No Face guy. Wasn't he like the ghosty
Yeah.
guy that was
Yeah.
just like barely creeping?
And you'd always
along?
have the money like,
Right.
eh.
Yeah,
And later-
Yeah.
I liked him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember what he did.
And it was just, he was super interesting because he's just like, he thought like if he gave everybody what they wanted, they'd be friends with him until like,
And then he becomes
The
like a
girl?
monster.
yeah,
in part
Yeah.
two,
and he
like-
is terrifying once
Yeah, I
he
didn't like
eats
him then.
everybody.
He was bad.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, you say
So
your piece, of course.
this is so hard because both of these have such special places in my heart. But here's my breakdown. So I think in ways they're kind of similar in the same movie as they are movies about understanding yourself, discovering who you truly are in very specific situations, and in these crazy adventure moments. Like they're different in that way. It's Evie going through all of the terrorism and the abduction and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it's what's her face going through the little girl's name, who for whatever reason
Forgot.
her name I can't remember. She's going through this mystical adventure to save her parents and going through all of this, so they have those parallels, and I kind of really love that about it. I think back on this movies though, and it's hard because V for Vendetta's drama is more grounded and more actual real, and while it's more powerful at times because of it. I think back on movies that have like sincerely like made me cry and get emotional and in depth on it, like just the scene where Evie's in there and she's going through the story of like the lesbian lovers who get picked up and stuff like that. There's so much heart and passion into that, and it translates to be more heart than what I usually get out of Spirited Away. But Spirited Away does so much more to take me to a new place and make me go on a special adventure. It feels the difference between I'm watching an adventure unfold and really like loving the emotion portrayed through it, but it's a movie, where Spirited Away feels like I'm actually in the journey myself, and it's magical in that special way. So it's an incredibly hard one, and the only way I can validate sitting here picking what between the two I want to do is just who I want to see fight your name.
That's kind of what
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
saying.
and in all honesty, it has to be Spirited Away for me on this one because I think that there is such a
So
such
we
a
actually
battle to
talk
be
about
had.
your name?
Yes, because your name needs to have a worthy opponent, and I think that there's enough disgruntledness side on V for Vendetta where your name could easily sweep V for Vendetta. But if we're talking Spirited
Yeah.
Away, that's a fucking battle that I want to see. So if I have to choose between these two children, I'm putting away V for Vendetta, even though I had it literally being like my number 2 in my bracket.
Yeah. I mean, it is a good movie, again, like I said, even though it doesn't fit, like, even my criteria of movies, like, it just has that angsty kind of feel that sometimes you just want to watch the government blow up.
Hell yeah! Like
Nathan wants to
that's
watch it all the
every
time.
Oh, that's
we've been-
every
we've been
day for
watching
this,
it on
man.
loop recently, so
Yeah.
So now we're moving on to
fuck me, dude.
the
right,
last ones. These will end up in our final 4.
Final 4.
Dylan, you announced these because Mason is lacking the gusto.
All right, guys, we
I'm
have
not gonna
a,
even tell you what time it is right now.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We are
It's
in
getting late.
the 11th
Yeah.
hour at this point. Number 1
Roll up our
seed
sleeves.
Jurassic Park against number 2 seed Warrior.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Well, this is not a contest.
Oh, it is.
I mean, y'all are welcome to say your piece, but
Okay, so here's
I
the
see
thing.
no comparison.
Jurassic Park is obviously a timely classic. It's so good. It had so much going for it. Like you said earlier, it had it
Jeff
unleashed
Goldblum?
dinosaurs amongst us, like the zombie craze did 15 or 20 years later. I mean, it was huge for what it did. The problem that I have though is older movies. You have to be in the mood for them. You have to want to watch them. While Warrior is obviously more of a current and very well told story. It just comes down to the time period for me. I would pick Warrior just because in 20 more years, Jurassic Park is going to look even more dated. The issues that I had with Jurassic Park, which
Jurassic
there
Park
weren't
to
many.
me was starting to look dated.
Oh, it very much is. My biggest qualm was the part
Yeah.
that everyone remembers
Disagree.
was that big, crazy T-Rex that was just playing chicken with the people in the Jeep the whole time for like what felt like 20 minutes.
Oh, the kids in the Jeep.
Yeah, and it's the flashlight girl, like that whole scene took forever. It was dated.
best
Yeah.
As I said earlier about Slumdog Millionaire, it doesn't
Oh.
hurt most of the time, but if you have to pick one of these two, I'm gonna go Warrior.
Well, he's already thrown in his vote for some reason.
Oh, that's unheard of.
I mean, I feel like these are not comparable at all. Jurassic Park is punching so above Warrior's grade that like Warrior can't even see Jurassic Park from where it's at. I mean, Jurassic Park is a classic. I personally don't see it being dated at all. I think the practical effects are going to hold up the best. Some of the CG does not look the best, but
How
I still
about
think it
that,
still looks
that-
pretty great.
That Samuel L. Jackson hand.
Oh,
That part's never looked good, and I said that in the review.
It never
Like,
has.
that is a joke in the whole thing where it's like
Uh-huh.
everything else is great, but this fucking hand is gonna
I mean,
suck though. Like
I mean,
It's so
It's
bad.
so
the,
bad.
the dinosaurs are iconic. Even the characters, even though like they're not super well acted, like the characters are even still iconic. I mean, Sam
Ian
Neill.
Malcolm, you can't
Yeah.
get over Sam Neill as Dr. Grant does such a killer
they're
job
just
for being-
so enjoyable to watch, and the score is just one of the best of all times. I mean, if you don't hear like the swell of the Jurassic Park score when you go in, like if that doesn't like get you hyped for something, I don't know what would.
Nathan.
Jurassic Park dinosaurs are completely inaccurate and led all of us astray into thinking that dinosaurs are the descendants of lizards and not birds.
That's fine. Fuck the Utah Raptors. I said it. My friend's dad is the one who found it. Fun fact.
Yeah, velociraptors also are not nearly the size that they're portrayed.
We're talking about the movies. Come on.
We don't give a shit about this
Yeah.
history, Nathan.
Give them hell,
It's
Nathan!
so inaccurate.
Shut up,
You're on a roll, buddy!
You gave your vote already. You hush.
Do I think Warrior is a better movie than Jurassic Park? Probably not. Do I think Jurassic Park should just keep swinging on past literally everything? I sure hope it doesn't.
It'll have a fight
but
next time.
I can let it keep going so far.
Yeah. Do you need to say anything? They're both yours.
I love them both. This whole
Yeah.
bracket is full of some of my favorite movies. Literally, maybe all.
Oh
of
yeah, I
them.
saw the top left and like rip.
I just cried this whole time doing this whole bracket.
I got the bottom left. And I was like,
Yeah. But listen, I love Warrior to death, obviously. Jurassic Park, and I know it's a dumb cop out, but we've already talked about the score. We've talked about the intensity. We've talked about it being this amazing, timeless thriller. You all keep saying dated, and I keep saying, you fools. No, the only thing that dates is their attires and maybe
Their
hairstyles.
attire is a big
Yeah.
part of it.
That is.
But you're right.
Pennies on the dollar. All right, pennies on the dollar of my concerns for this movie, and whatever. The score slaps. The action's great. T-Rex is amazing. It's iconic.
Yep.
For a reason.
Don't worry, guys, I got this.
No. This is a
Yeah.
talk. This is a talk.
What do we
Stop
got
talk.
up
Yeah,
ahead?
stop typing.
Yeah, you fool.
All right, I'll
Our
do
next
this
matchup.
one. For the next matchup, we have No Country for Old Men versus The Inglourious Bastards.
Is
No.
there the?
No, it's just Inglourious Bastards.
Okay, that's what I
He
thought. I
gets
was
all
like,
profound when it's his movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah, I'm
right?
throwing. I'm like putting some gusto into it.
I like No Country for Old Men, but I won't mind. I'm probably gonna vote for Inglourious Bastards. Thoughts?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
No Country for Old Men had its day. It had many.
It
Yeah.
got a lot. It got further than I
It
thought.
You got a
real
lot further than I
far.
think. It was.
I did not have it beating Nightcrawler. I saw the one seed and I was like, oh, it's probably just gonna go through.
Easy
But-
breeze, right into Inglourious Bastards.
easy
at number
breezy.
So yeah, Inglourious Bastards is gonna go far.
2. Yeah.
Well, it's against Jurassic Park, so
Like I said, it's gonna go far.
it's gonna be interesting. That discussion will be fun.
On our other side, we have the number 1 Prisoners versus the number 2 10 Cloverfield
Ooh.
Lane.
We're actually getting some fun ones now.
And
Similar movies.
It is,
Yeah.
it is actually eerie how like similar these movies kind of are. Just in the tension, it's just the duration and the length that
Who knew
separate.
we made a thriller corner over here?
I know,
Yeah.
right? Like
Mason's Thriller Corner.
Yeah.
we have the animated corner on the bottom right.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
Spicy.
I'll start. So these movies are super similar, but Prisoner sticks the landing, unlike 10 Cloverfield Lane. And I know as much
It
as
really
you all
does.
want to give me, you all want to give me shit for it. It really does. Prisoner's ending sticks with that dark, bleak tone that it sets throughout the entirety of its movie. 10 Cloverfield Lane, especially for people like us who had never seen Cloverfield, and you all said, like, this is a self-contained movie, and you can just watch this and be fine. We were watching it like, this thriller is awesome. I'm loving every minute of it. It's awesome, it's awesome, it's awesome. She gets out. You expect it to be kind of over, and then she fights a gigantic alien, which does not fit the movie at all. Again, I know you're going to say...
Arguably, I think it fights her.
Again,
Yeah.
I know you all
I
are
don't
going to
think she
say, like,
fights
it
Yeah.
fits into the Cloverfield universe, but so far throughout this bracket, we have said that, like, sequels and prequels and stuff, I don't believe should factor into how good the movie is as a whole. And the alien at the end just throws it all off. It does not match the tone and the presence of the movie that we have been set up to believe the entirety of the movie.
I feel like this movie is, I got a really good bottle thriller that is incredible, one of the best that you'll ever watch, and then I got 10 minutes of, oh shit, he was fucking right, there's giant aliens, oh my god.
Everywhere.
yeah.
And that was, like, I like both of those things. I don't feel bad about either of them. I have to separate them a little bit, though, because, yeah, it is silly. But they're both so good. They're so worth it.
It would have been nice if, I mean, a similar thing to Ride Your Wave. Like, if they just would have left it ambiguous, and I mean that as in, like, if it would have been ambiguous as to whether or not Minato was dead the whole time during Ride Your Wave,
It
the
would've
movie
been
would have been
much
so much better. If it was ambiguous as to whether or not John Goodman was, like, being right the whole time, and, like, you really didn't know whether or not, like, she was free to go outside, it would have been so much better. But it had to fit into that Cloverfield universe and had to say, oh yeah, we have Cloverfield in the title, I forgot. Here's an alien.
A few of them.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, Cloverfield Lane, the worst thing you could probably say about it is that in like 10, 15 years, that CG for the aliens might start looking dated or something, because that's always going to be the argument for CG stuff and that stuff.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, is any of the character performance, any of the grounded drama that happens in Prisoners ever going to end up dated? Probably not.
No.
Like, that being said, all the thriller, the drama stuff that happens before the aliens is gonna have that same argument as Prisoners, but because it's just a little. At the same time, though, Prisoners or 10 Cloverfield Lane accomplishes pretty much as much as Prisoners does in less time, so it seems like it's more efficient in being a drama in that way. So even if you add on the extra couple 10 minutes, they still got away with being in a more efficient and fit drama. Like, even if you compare the two, it's fitter. Like, I can't
so
argue
far, I will say the only complaints that have been made about 10 Cloverfield Lane are mostly just a complaint about the last 10 minutes with some aliens.
that. Right.
Whereas the issues that you've brought up with Prisoners is that it is overly long
It is.
and that the
Rewatchability.
sinks.
I agree with that too.
Which, I mean, I've not rewatched either of these movies. Maybe 10 Cloverfield Lane doesn't hold up as well on a second watch through either.
Oh, we watched it. It held up for me. I mean, and that's not this way, but I mean, for me, I think that's. I think it's an important factor for
Mason,
us,
what you got? You got your gun on both your babies right now.
Yeah.
These are your babies.
Yeah, they are.
The issue is you can suggest Prisoners to watch to anyone at any time, and I think that they're going to enjoy it to no end.
That's
I think
a rough one.
Enjoy is a specific word I would use.
Yeah.
I would say most people would enjoy 10 Cloverfield Lane over Prisoners.
I would
Because
have
Prisoners,
to. Yeah.
Prisoners makes
That's a
you
rough movie.
realize that you can be a monster, whereas in 10 Cloverfield,
Yeah, you're
you're
pointing
in the
at-
shoe,
yeah.
like you're
there
in the
are
shoes,
monsters.
like
Yes.
And it's John Goodman.
And it's John
for
Goodman. You're
99%
like,
of the
why
film.
is he like this? This guy's Captain Insano over here.
I agree. I just think that
The Prisoners, the violence in that is so visceral.
Is that
I
a Adam
just-
Sandler reference? Captain Insane?
Yeah, 100%. Waterboy.
Yeah, there it is. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're
It's
good.
your
I
time.
think that Prisoners is awesome for what it is, but exactly like what Nathan just said, I don't have any qualms with 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't have hardly any with Prisoners, but it is more efficient, Dylan, in the time that it's given. 10 Cloverfield Lane is. I don't mind the alien ending. I think that you'll be hard up to find
I
many
love it.
people that will just completely hate it at the end for that. It's in the
25%
title.
post.
Hey,
It is in the
I've got a
title.
little something for you too.
What you got?
I didn't mind the aliens, but cut to the last 2 minutes of the movie
Oh.
where she's driving in the car, picks up a radio of like, oh, we're
distress
creating
call.
it's a resistance movement over here in this city, and she's just like, all right, here I go to the resistance.
Yeah.
An absolute open-ended ending. Like, let's see if we can make another one, maybe. I don't know. We'll pitch it later.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Nah, let's go to space.
If we are
That movie
going...
sucks.
Yeah, that one sucked.
That one's bad.
Votes now. I'm going for 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Okay.
What's
God, Mason?
It's so fucking wild, man. Because if you told me that Prisoners was over,
Prisoners is incredible.
Prisoners is so damn good. Like it has been a fan favorite for so long, and
Yeah.
10 Cloverfield Lane I think has been like, I mean, a
Yeah.
fan favorite for a lot of us. But you know, the funny thing is that the more this bracket has come up, the more I've sat here and realized new and interesting arguments for things it comes up against. Again, the sequel point that it's one of these amazing sequels that you not watching the beginning is almost its strength at times, and especially if you don't like the alien part, then it's just like, wow, the second guessing part's so crazy. The fact that it does do the thriller intensity with less runtime and more efficiently and that stuff, it's fucking nuts. I'm going 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's insane. I didn't think it was, not that it doesn't deserve it, I just didn't think it.
I think that's one of the better fights we've had,
That's a
too.
great fight. I mean, I think it's a great
Well,
fight.
we know how the rest of it's going to go, but I'm going to say it anyway. Mine's a personal reason why I'm picking mine, because, again, I'm the only one raising this concern. But Prisoners is still going to take it for me, because even though you all make a great point that almost swayed me with the 10 Cloverfield Lane doing what Prisoners did, but in less time, still, I think Prisoners almost warrants the time that it has, because you have to take that descent with our characters to truly feel what they're taking, because if you cut this movie to even like 30, 45 minutes, like it still is going to feel kind of abrupt, like, wow, Hugh Jackman's acting kind of wild here. Wasn't really expecting that.
It does need all the time to sit there and drag
Yeah,
it
and
out.
it does need that time for you to like marinate and really get to know Jake Gyllenhaal's character, understand what the family's going through, and why they're going through all this in the first place. And the ending of 10 Cloverfield Lane just leaves way too sour of a taste in my mouth for me to even think about giving this a spot in the semifinals, but it looks like it's going to get there anyway. But let Nathan. Look, Nathan is the tiebreak.
So
Kind of.
Potentially.
It's so hard. I could definitely send it either way.
Yeah.
Because the thing that's so good about Prisoners is what I've said a few times now. It makes you realize that you are just as capable of being a monster given the right circumstances as anybody else. And I think that is such a good thing to be achieved in a movie. You know, I ultimately, would I rather pick Prisoners? Probably just on that, yes. But I think 10 Cloverfield Lane is really good and a good, concise movie too. So I'm completely fine with seeing it move forward.
Okay.
I
So
think
like
that
you're
was-
picking Prisoners, but you're kind of tipping
Conceding.
to
Yeah.
10 Cloverfield?
Cloverfield.
Okay.
I think any of us could possibly do that.
I think honestly that could go either way on any given
Yeah,
day too.
which-
Like,
So y'all fine with 10 Cloverfield rather than Prisoners? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
You all know my feelings. Like I unfortunately can't
Like,
tip it.
it's unfortunate that these two went up again. I mean, it's good because
right.
they're the same.
It's good because there's a fair argument between these.
They're
ones.
they're the same, but they're like two sides of the same situation.
Mhm.
It's like in one you're in the shoes of the person who's been captured, and in the other you're the you're the
You're the
warden.
captain,
Right.
yeah. Our last matchup going into the final four is Your Name versus Spirited Away, which I hear some sighs and grunts.
I'm excited for this one.
The
Mason,
fatigue is in.
Mason, Mason. Let's let you do the pitch for once,
All right.
and you're doing Your Name.
Yes,
of course.
obviously. So Your Name, if we're talking about just the look and the design and the visuals of it, Your Name is beautiful. I mean, the water, the color, all of the blues in this movie are just insane. I think that it's so crisp and so colorful.
By the way,
Spirited-
this is the first time we're talking about Your Name.
That's true.
We're about to unload
Yeah.
real quick. Your Name does feel kind of like a longer movie, but it tells so much of a story. And on first watch at least, sometimes even on the second watch, it takes so long for that plot twist to actually hone in and actually you figure out what the hell is going on. It takes her going through a book or something, or him going through a book to like finally start to realize, and then you as the audience is also figuring it out. It's a teen drama. I mean, through and through.
It
You
is.
can't- You cannot disagree. It is.
Fuck, he swayed me.
It
He's got a
is,
good point.
it is directly up my alley. It is easily the best anime I think I've ever seen. It pushed me to watch more of these. What was his name?
Oh, that director.
Toko Shinkai.
The Weathering with You guy. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Shinkai.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if this guy normally does all of these like this well, but I do think that this was probably his best work.
He always does teen love stories.
Yeah.
That's definitely his wheelhouse.
He's the you. He's like if you and Price had a child in Japan,
It would be
and they
cute.
went on to be wildly successful.
I will
Right.
say
Yeah.
too that if we're talking about soundtracks and we're talking about this one also holds up. I mean,
Zen, zen, zen,
we
zen.
play it on Rock Band.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's-
all the
yeah,
time.
singing in Japanese.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so hard for this one, I think, to get defeated. But we'll see what you guys think. It's new versus old, and that's
Right.
really what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's wild too because I mean I agree. Both of these movies are incredibly special and unique,
Yes.
and I think Your Name was more emotionally investing in me because I think that there's so much more to lose, right? Like if you're a kid losing your parents, you're like, fuck it, now you get to live in a magical like Wonderland. That's not so much of a bad consolation prize. But these ones, it was just like all the way up until this minute. For those who don't know any of the summary on Your Name, because we've just neglected talking about it at all on camera, it is this body switch with two teenagers. One's living in the city in Japan, and one's living in like out in the boons, and they have this weird body switch that they don't really explain for the movie for like a little while. They keep you kind of playing along until you start to learn about the logistics and how their romance starts to bloom. Go check it out. It's this beautiful, amazing movie. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I mean, so much of its inspiration comes from Spirited Away, though. Like
Yeah.
again, this is like one of these tried and true, amazing forms of art that like it's weird, like that I have like so many passion strengths in the classics for these final four. Like Jurassic Park has
Yeah.
like this classic power for the same reason Spirited Away does. And it's hard for me to sit there and say, like, I love them both, but it's like, all right, here's the difference. Your name doesn't exist if Spirited Away doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But then at some point, when does, like, you get that apprentice becoming the master?
Right, and at the
like-
same time, like, it's your name here is in ways a step forward from Spirited Away, and in other ways not. Like, the art styles it's just different in its time periods, right?
Yeah.
More modern technology, this is the style that's being used. It's not necessarily, it may appeal to, like Mason a little bit better or anybody else better. New age people I think will come in and they'll appreciate it more because it's more vibrant and rich. But the detail and the love and affection that went into Spirited Away, I think it shouldn't be ignored because of that either, though. And again, it's a period piece of its time.
Yes, I want to elaborate on that last point that Dylan just made, because even though like the colors and the characters pop off the screen more in Your Name, Spirited Away's the character design and the sound and everything in that movie I think will hold up better than Your Name, honestly. It's just so classic, and all of the like the background characters, the models on them, they're all unique. All of them are different. And they're never explained, nothing. Your Name is set in present time, so we can relate. And it's really cool how it uses that to its advantage. But, I mean, I have rewatched Your Name a lot. I'll rewatch it again.
I think we've all rewatched
Just-
it a
yeah.
lot and yet never talked about it on screen.
Yeah, which is odd because we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But Your Name still, it falls into that trap that I was talking about previously where once you know...
teen drama, it's gonna
Once,
suck.
once you know the twist at the end, the rest of the movie loses a lot of its like are they going to get together? Because I remember the first time we talked about this movie, like the first thing we said was like, if they didn't get together at the end, I was going to kill myself. Like we were
Like,
all
there was going to
so
be
upset.
a riot.
Right.
Oh yeah, we were going to get so upset
And
because
it was such a nail biting like experience. They just kept passing each other,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like the ribbon thing, and it's just
All the like
Yeah.
excruciating, really.
partially spoiler, it goes all the way to the last minutes of the film.
Oh,
that they
the
keep
last
this-
like
last
seconds.
Yeah.
But Spirited Away I still believe a timeless classic. Your Name, like Spirited Away is one I truly could give to, I believe, anybody, and they could find something to grab onto there. Your Name, if you give it to somebody and they're not invested in the relationship between these two characters, they may not like it. Your Name also really, unfortunately, falls into that almost weeb category a little bit. Especially with how, like, I get
Oh,
that
the
they're like,
playful boob
yeah, I
part,
get
yeah.
that they're teenagers and like they would do that.
It's a body switch.
But still, they do it multiple times rather than just like, again, you're a teenager, of course.
It's so fun.
Oh,
Wakes
oh,
up
it's
every
fun.
morning, just
Like, of course you would do that, but still, it dwells on a little bit long for that for people who aren't as into anime, I guess. I
it's
mean,
too
my,
weeby. is
my
what it
favorite
is.
scene though was still the one time where she was feeling herself up and her sister came in and she was crying. That
Yeah.
part's still hilarious to me. But
It's
Nathan,
like finally actually body switch. And it's just like, yeah. As soon as you mention the whole like squeezing her boobs, it's just like, yeah. I just remember the part where he was crying because he was so happy that
Yeah.
he was back
Yeah.
in her body.
now
Yeah.
I do want to give Your Name props as well. I mean, telling a love story through body swapping is incredible.
Unconventional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And it's two
Super
different
cool.
time period. Like that's the thing. We're just talking about the body swap and the teen drama.
Mhm.
We're not talking about the comet. We're not talking, all.
Well, we don't want to spoil the whole movie in the review.
But at the same
right?
time, we're
Yeah.
not mentioning that at all. I
like,
mean, that
the time
is-
element to it.
Yeah.
They were like 3 years
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
And then the
it's-
whole like drinking the sake stuff, like that. It was just the wildest ride that at the very beginning you didn't realize that you were getting yourself into. And not only did you not know, but it was coercing you into this story where I think we were all into it, obviously, by 20 minutes in.
But Your Name is, I feel like I'm watching a movie, like I'm just watching the movie and I'm very much enjoying it. Spirited Away, I feel like, is pulling me into this world,
Yeah.
not letting me
Not
go,
letting you go.
and just enjoying this whimsical atmosphere throughout the entire time, which
Yeah.
is something I haven't felt in a movie in a long time. It's truly a joy.
It's
I don't
been
really
said.
know if I have much
Nathan
else
flips the
to
coin.
add. I mean,
That's
it's-
fine.
Yeah.
It's tight run between both of them.
Mm-hmm.
the thing about, I guess, Your Name would be that it hits emotional notes, I think, more than Spirited Away does.
Yeah.
And
it
I
hits them
think
harder,
any
too.
movie that can hit those notes well and hard enough to, at least to affect me, that's pretty significant.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recall that Spirited Away ever quite hit me like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd concede that Your Name probably hits the emotional notes better and deeper on that one.
Spirited Away is not as much of an emotional journey.
Right, but I'm
as
like,
Your Name. They're kind of going for different things.
Right, so I'm not going to fault like Spirited Away for it because it's not necessarily trying to
Yeah.
invoke that reaction. It cares a lot more about putting you into the magical adventure rather than sitting there and making you feel upset that, oh no, my parents are pigs now. Wait, what the what are my parents? Oh god, I've been adventuring all for this past like 5 years. Who never knows how long in that time.
I mean, these movies are about kind of two different things. Like, one is childhood whimsy, and
Right.
the other one is like
A little
just
bit
like
more grown up.
that,
Yeah.
more grown up, like that teen years and like finding that person for you
And I think that's, so much why like Mason definitely relates with it as well. It's just like Spirited Away is a kid's movie you can put on a TV, but if you give me Your Name, that feels like a story that like
Well,
adults can appreciate more.
And Spirited Away, like I think it's more meant. While it is like a kid and like a whimsical world, like I do think that there's a deeper meaning.
Mhm.
Your Name, I don't think has a very like in-depth meaning that you have to sit there and shovel out and try to figure out.
Well, will they, won't they?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
bad.
no.
No, that's fine. It just
Because
depends
remember,
on what
our
your
emotions.
into.
at the end
We
of
were
the movie.
still way more emotional with the simple concept than it is the
Exactly.
deep
Yeah.
perceptions. So, all right, without further ado, I think we just have to do our picks, guys. Let's get into it.
Let's figure it out.
Nathan.
Your Name.
Oh no. I thought previous to my rewatches of Your Name, I thought that I was gonna pick that as well, but Spirited Away again still just pulls me in every time I watch it. Whereas Your Name, like I know the beats, I know what's gonna happen, I know when I'm gonna laugh, I know what's gonna happen, and the rewatchability again for me is so important when you're comparing two movies that are so good, just like these two. And Spirited Away has more of a rewatchability for me.
Yeah, and rewatchability is not something that I'm factoring in with this decision. Because
Totally discretionary.
I think there's a lot of movies that they get their one chance to get you, and after you've watched it, rewatching it's never going to be the same effect.
Yeah.
It just leaves such a hard impression, too, right? And
To each their own.
I mean, I love teen dramas. I do. But the rewatchability factor is a big thing for me. But to be fair, motherfucker, I've also rewatched Your Name and I still loved it. Like, so it's so hard. But call me a sucker for classic power on this one for this bracket. But Spirited Away is going to be my pick on this one. It stands up on the test of time. It does what it does in such an amazing way. And all the characters are this extra fantastical thing. It's not even just the two characters that exist on the stage. There's a little girl, there's Haku, there's Babu, there's all the little nitty-gritty stuff. And I think that, yeah, Spirited Away is supposed to be going for the bigger picture world and everything, but it excels so well in that. So for ambition and for the staying power of still exceeding even past its time, I'm going to give it to Spirited Away in this instance.
All right.
Yeah, I've vocalized everything in the past.
Yep.
Spirited Away is not my cup of tea. I don't think that
fair.
it's one of. I understand it. Between that and Howl's Moving Castle is supposed to be like the two main Ghibli movies that
Don't
people
do
know.
Howl's.
I like House.
It's good.
I like
I-
House.
That
I
those
tried
are the two that I
rewatching it. It
associate
wasn't
everyone
funny.
knowing.
Yeah, those and like Princess Mononoke, I feel like tend to
Yeah.
be like the big three.
I'll say Spirited Away and Totoro almost.
Oh, Totoro as well.
Yeah, Totoro. I remember that big
Totoro's
orange
huge.
thing. So we have a tie.
Yep.
Wait,
For the first
can we-
time in a long
can-
time, we have a
Wait,
tie.
can we figure this out ourselves first? I
I'm
know
not-
Mason's
I'm
not budging.
He's not budging. Your name's too smug for so long. I want to stay
Yeah.
stubborn on some.
It's just
Like, I
so
think
Spirited Away, I
pure.
feel like has had to fight a little bit. I know it's so pure, but
Yeah.
but I also feel like we've had Jill and Annabeth here for so long that I feel like I'm obliged to have to force them to do a tiebreaker.
Well, Nathan, do you?
Well,
do you?
I can tell you that they've both seen Your Name. I don't know if
I've
they've...
seen both of these movies.
Hell yeah.
Oh!
I actually had these two up to head on my own bracket, and
Oh.
it's such a hard time choosing between
Yeah,
them.
it's not easy. All right, so
Yeah, what do you all have? I'd love to
shit.
hear it.
If
I
they
wanna hear
split it
Annabeth
further,
first.
then we're going just.
We're gonna split it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Annabeth.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you have to in 5 seconds or less, please. Because we've been doing this for 5 hours.
You mean I don't get a long monologue?
No,
You got it. You take however long you need.
Yeah. No, I mean we've crossed 6 hours. What's 7?
What, 7?
Jill, do you know yours?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Because, like I said, they were head to head, and
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time thinking about it. And
Okay.
as much as I adore Your Name, Spirit Away just means too much to me to not choose it.
See, I was gonna go Your Name.
I'm not upset that you picked your name. I'm upset that our tiebreakers have tied us.
So you really have to flip a coin for this
Yeah.
one.
My,
I mean,
Flip
I don't
a
know.
coin.
I think we'll
That
have
should
to.
seem like the way to make
Yeah.
these final decisions.
Seems like a
Okay,
terrible way to make these.
You
finals.
you two feel like the ones that could possibly like see the other side possibly concede, because again,
Us two?
no, I didn't
Me and
point to
Nathan.
you
Oh. I was
at
like,
all.
Weird.
I
Alright.
don't think I'm really the person you think I am in this.
No, I'm just saying. I was just saying you two
You're
seem
like,
like
I'm
ones that
pretty
could
solid
possibly
on
be
that.
like, all right,
I
just Spirit Away is it's gorgeous. It will stay through for forever. Your Name is just so selective in that like I couldn't show it to just anybody and then be like, I really like this.
you know what?
Spirited Away, I almost feel like I could.
I like that it's incredibly so 50-50 even amongst our tiebreakers with this. So, for the sake of seeing New Blood go hopefully potentially against a classic, depending on how Jurassic Park plays out, you fucking haters.
Are you seriously doing this, Dylan?
What's on the other side of the bracket again?
What's Jurassic Park play?
English.
Inglorious.
Oh fuck, that's gonna be a tight race. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. We might need a classic. Nope, staying. I'm staying firm in this camp. We will not budge. I will filibuster now.
Hands.
I don't know how to settle this, guys.
I say we just do the
I-
coin flip.
I
Let's do
don't.
it.
I don't know
Where'd the coin
either.
go?
I know
gave it to
Mason's
Theo.
not budging, and I mean, if you're gonna pick like even just for pedigree of movie, Spirited Away is gonna still take it. It's like it was the top grossing movie.
Yeah, in the
Japan.
80s, because it was the 80s and
It
it's
was
been
adjusted
30
for
years.
inflation, Mason.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, obviously it's had more staying power because it's been around. Like,
I mean, if y'all want to see Spirited Away go on, okay.
alright.
I,
Moving it.
I don't agree, but
I mean, it's not that we disagree with
Yeah.
your name. It's just that we agree that we give the edge on Spirited Away.
Alright, is that the final decision?
whatever you want to pick to watch Inglourious Bastards win.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, go ahead and just plug it in. Wait, for the sake of fatigue and tiredness,
Yeah.
maybe one day we'll come back and fight on this one.
Do we think that 10 Cloverfield Lane could potentially win over one versus the other? That's what we need to worry about now.
Okay, so if we're just gonna go ahead and wrap this side of the bracket.
Yeah, I don't want to wrap it. Just set Spirit Away, and we'll
Okay.
argue them out. And it shouldn't be based on like what's over here, who leans here.
Well, I mean, that's what it literally is going to come down to, though.
Yeah, no.
Ultimately, sure.
If we're completely torn on this one and then we send one up and then it just gets beat out, then we're like, well, would that one have had a
Alright,
chance?
I'm fine
So
with
our
that.
final four is
Final
Inglourious
four.
Bastards against Jurassic Park, and Spirited Away versus 10 Cloverfield Lane. Wow, 10 Cloverfield
I
Lane.
never would have guessed in
Yeah.
Cloverfield.
I won't lie to you.
Ever.
That one is. If we thought No Country for Old Men was a black horse, this one is really
Yeah.
showing up.
Definitely. So first, Jurassic Park versus Inglourious Bastards.
I've said enough.
You stubborn.
No, you
old
haven't.
fuck.
No, I like.
You know, I'll say we have not spoken much at all about Inglourious Bastards.
It's
It has
swept.
pretty much just been stomping its way.
It's
up
your
to the
named all the
top.
way up
So
until
is
the Final
Jurassic
Four.
Park.
Yeah, I mean.
But we've talked about it. I think that Inglourious Bastards wins this one against Jurassic Park.
But we need to talk.
No,
No,
this
we
is
don't.
this is it. We talk about old movies. You know, how far can they go? How much length can they go? Like whatever. It's just there comes a point where something can beat it. You know, it's not untouchable for the rest of eternity. Jurassic Park is great, and it will forever be great. But when it comes to certain matchups and an actual drama or an actual thriller or an actual this, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, worry about the warrior thing. But like now it's going up against a Tarantino, in my opinion, the best thing that he's done. So I can't sit there and just go ahead and give the nod to Jurassic Park again just because it's old and it's iconic.
I mean, I'm
If
not
The
saying that
Matrix-
it's a simple one-sided fight for sure.
Yeah, if it were The Matrix, that would be the same way where, The Matrix has had a run.
Sure, if it was two
It's fine.
classics, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, which classic do I like more? And to your credit, now you're like, all right, now we're putting it against a modern movie that's continued to excel in the modern times. Well, this one's been the classic with it. And I don't want to... The problem is that I think that it'll go tone deaf on the discussion for Jurassic Park because you're only here, it's a classic and do all this. But I keep reminding that it's a classic because it earned its status. It's a classic because its score was amazing. It's a classic because the thriller aspects were great and that the animatronics look fucking fantastic and that all of that stuff for me still feels timeless. And again, timeless and classic are these terms that you just want to throw away for like the argument's sake. But I think that's the biggest thing for me, that is saying that if you tell me any movie from the 90s is even relevantly a comparison argument to Warrior or to Inception or any of these things, and you're like, I want to dismiss it for these reasons because I think that it's pointless to sit there and just keep using that as its argument. I'm like, I disagree. I think that is it encompasses all of the argument of why I'm like, if you're telling me a movie in 93 is good enough to fight with, in my opinion, Quentin Tarantino's second or third favorite or third best movie.
What's your first?
Kill Bill
It
1.
got
Okay.
beat
Or
out.
Kill Bill 2, yeah.
It got beat out.
By Warrior.
Yeah, by Warrior.
So all of this is for null.
Yeah.
I think that ultimately, even though Jurassic Park has a lot of very classic scenes that are iconic and fun to watch, Inglourious Bastards, some of the scenes and the tension in those are so much more gripping than anything that happens in Jurassic Park.
Because it feels like there's real stakes
Yeah,
in
like
Inglourious Bastards. Whereas,
Jurassic Park is a lighthearted romp, where Inglourious Bastards, like all the people hiding underneath the house while that conversation's going on and switching languages and everything, like that feels so much more high stakes and real and puts you more in the moment with the movie.
Or what
than
about
you
when?
ever really are with Jurassic
Or
Park.
what about when Christoph Waltz finally gets that girl back? Like he finds out who she is or whatever, and takes her back to his place. Like golly, like just every moment. Like this movie immediately grips you from the very start and does not let you go through the entire movie, which is saying something because there are bursts of action throughout it to kind of keep that your brain still engaged. But man, the dialogue is really what keeps you there, and the tension that you can cut with a knife whenever it needs to. I mean, basically every time Christoph Waltz comes in for dialogue, there's tension throughout it. I mean, I'm also just thinking of the moment where Shoshana, is that how you say her name?
Shoshana.
Yeah.
Shoshana, sorry. When the German guy brings her to that French restaurant and like Christoph Waltz comes in, the big dick in the room, and like just like puts her hand on her and she's like, oh, I know who this is. And then the entire rest of the conversation, she's just like freaking out the whole time. It's just such a great
He
movie.
just acts so calm and
Yeah.
casual while he's so incredibly menacing.
The whole time.
See, I have a hard time with that argument, not necessarily because it's wrong. Like I agree, like all of that's true.
They're both going for different things. I think that's
Right.
What
I mean,
I do agree.
it's not even that. It's not even the two different factors of one is a very grounded, realistic content by nature. It's talking about World War II Nazis, and like Nazis is an easy card to play. Not that dinosaurs isn't an easy card to
Agreed.
play as well. Fair, but in the extension of that, like if you replace Christoph Waltz with Velociraptor, the same argument is made for Jurassic Park the entire time. Anytime the Velociraptor's in scene and the prey with that, then in the same way, like the tension is always there. It feels like it's always just one calculation after another for that.
I almost disagree with you for the scene where she goes down to do the electricity kind of switch. It almost feels slapstick at that point for me. There is a little bit of
Pretty
tension,
slapstick.
but like she shoves one against the wall with like it's jumping on the cage, and somehow she pushes this huge thing against like a wall, and it's just like, and it like can't get out for a second. It feels like slapstick.
I'll say this as its last little burning embers because I already feel the 3-1 vote on this one. So I'll say this.
Okay.
You're wrong.
God.
But
There's no...
again, there's the part of it that I knew that so much of that tension, so much of that stuff has carried for me since I first watched it, and I'm not blind to see that there isn't some of that little bit of campy fun and stuff to it whenever it wants to, but for me, it never feels too slapsticky enough that it takes me out of it. It never feels like it's too much that says that, like, I don't feel the stakes are there whenever she's being chased and she's limping up the stairs with the flashlight bouncing off, and it's just like, Jesus, you're like, get it together, girl. This is a thriller horror movie borderline in this moment, and you're sitting here tripping, you know, and the thing is walking up to you. And it feels like there's that trope there, but I don't know. I love it too much to sit there and say otherwise. But
if we're really nitpicking, it's just the movie wants you to feel like it's grounded when it kills off these characters like the lawyer from the T-Rex and
to be fair,
like Samuel
lawyer.
Jackson and stuff. Yeah, like it wants you to feel grounded when it kills these people that you want dead in the first place, but it also wants you to feel grounded when there's danger to the heroes. And that kind of pulls me out of it because it's got this whiplash of like, we want you to take us seriously, and like it's hard to take this seriously when it's our main characters who we know are gonna make it through.
I mean now, but and not that we won't sing praises on it, but I feel like if we're gonna have Inglorious come into the next round, that we save the fight for this one because you're not gonna go Jurassic Park, right? No.
No, the only issues that I really have with Inglourious Basterds is whenever I think back to the movie itself, I think of about 4 total scenes, like 4 total locations.
Those are long scenes, though.
That's exactly
they're
right.
small movies.
That's kind of that is a problem.
Farm, bar, theater.
Yeah, and that's about it. Maybe
really,
maybe
it's
it was
just
just 3.
Yeah, like.
And
you have to think about how much movie blurs in between there, though, and I think that's kind of like my others, like pseudo.
And then like the outdoorsy spots.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't remember the woods. With
the bear Jew.
Various sprinkling, but even then, it just feels like intro to characters.
This Nazi wants to die for his country.
Yeah.
Oblige him.
And as much as I love Brad Pitt doing that stuff.
Now, not to get this mistaken, I did have Inglourious Basterds going to the Final 4.
Biased. Fake news.
But I also had it going up against someone else going into the championship. So it did earn its spot to this point. Now I'm just pushing it through to the championship because I think against Jurassic Park, something's got to give. And I think that it's just a better movie overall. And things are allowed to have their day, you know. So,
all right. So is that 3-1?
3-1.
Okay.
JP.
So they make it to the...
I wasn't expecting that. I think I had Jurassic Park there. I don't know if Inglourious made that one.
Well,
I had Nightcrawler. That's who I had.
This one should be
Poor bastard.
Yeah, Nightcrawler wouldn't have beaten.
I fought tooth and nail. Oh, it wouldn't beat Jurassic Park. No.
Now we move on to the other. Who will make
Jurassic
it to
Park,
the
I have to take my
championship?
little bracket by the time it's
The 2 seed 10 Cloverfield Lane versus the 3 seed Spirited Away.
I love 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Those are...
But you had a good run.
I agree.
That-
I think its
yeah.
legs have run out.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy wrap on that one because that's ultimately like, oh, isn't it impressive that it made it this far?
Right.
You did good, buddy.
It's impressive.
Sit this one out.
Yeah. This is Creed when he goes up through and then he gets the actual fight, and then he just gets outboxed.
Actually loses.
Right, then he actually just loses. So shit.
Now this is a very weird matchup.
Inglourious Basterds versus Spirited Away.
For the final.
Like,
I don't even want us to talk about it. I just want Jill Annabeth to break the tie and see how it goes on this one.
Well, I'm biased because that would mean I would have a certain winner.
Okay.
Oh, you took it all the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my top was Spirited Away all the way.
Oh.
Annabeth, just for clarity.
Yeah, you guys just gotta fight it out.
Wait, in your bracket that you didn't fill out, did either of these 2 make it to the finals?
Honestly, probably not.
Yeah.
I could have seen Jurassic Park taking it all the way. To be
Thank
honest.
you.
I mean, unless I'm mistaken, before we go into this discussion,
This is very confusing
I
discussion.
feel like you 2 are pretty set on Inglourious. Maybe?
Yeah.
I'm definitely set on Inglourious.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Spirited Away
That's-
has won every single matchup that I had it losing up against.
What, you really-
Yeah, but this is your emo bracket, My Chemical Romance.
Yeah,
right? Like, you have
exactly.
to concede
Like, there's
that.
no reason.
Well, and also we have to remember that it passed Your Name on a, I don't know.
If it had been Your Name coming up against Inglourious Basterds,
Then we would have a
It would have been
discussion.
then it would have been a harder call.
Yes, that's what I'm
But for
getting
me
at.
now,
Yeah.
which is why we were talking about like what happens next.
Yeah, but it should be based on the matchup, not like what
It
it's going to
was.
be later.
Yeah.
It was based on the
It's-
matchup.
All right,
It's
humor me
based
though.
on
Humor
later
me.
Okay.
Does Inglorious Bastards win against your name? In your head?
No.
No, right? It's your name. Easy sweep. Not so well, not easy, but like
I would
Actually,
pick-
I still think Inglorious would beat your name.
that's
Yeah.
wild.
yeah.
I was like, I was like, if your name makes it to finals, there's no way it just doesn't win.
I
Like,
don't think I put Inglorious making it this far.
I had it going to
think
the
I had
final.
something
Yeah.
else take
Final
it out,
Four.
but now that it's here, at least in my mind,
It's the contender.
I think it's the one to take it.
Yeah.
Well, it's them two.
There's
I
such
knew that.
drastically different movies.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is one of those ones where we just have to sit there and say,
Like, how did we
I don't
get
know.
here and why?
what if how
No, you
unfa-
guys have had so much effort to get here. You guys
viewers, how unsettled would you be to be like, we can't figure it out. That's our show.
Like, all right,
You tuned
those
in
are our
for-
two favorites.
Yep. I don't know. How do you choose between lasagna and a brownies?
breadsticks.
Yeah, like I don't know. They're two different things. I legitimately don't know. Like I would say that
I
I'm probably
agree.
camped in Spirited Away because it's. God, why am I such a classic advocate right now? I don't know. And maybe,
He's got to keep his card for the Schmodown podcast.
no, I don't.
Like,
even
I
care
promise,
about that.
guys. I know what I'm talking about.
They would say the same shit. Inglourious Bastards is a fantastic film. I mean, honestly, it's a two different.
Yeah.
The genres are so far apart.
It's
It
hard
is-
to compare, though.
Right, so for me, I have to sit here and say, the first time I watched Inglourious Bastards, I kind of didn't remember it too much. The second time I watched it, I enjoyed it a lot more because I appreciate the performances a lot better, but it is still only about 3 big movie scenes, and then the rest I do still forget, even to date, after loving the movie so much. Spirited Away is this adventure thing that I remember pretty clearly from start to finish. She goes in, she
Yeah.
goes up, she goes into the food, they panic pig, and they go and they meet Hawkins. They go in the castle. They start in a little minor thing. They work their way up. Like I could cite that movie from start to finish. So for me, I lean it more towards that because it left more of an impression, and from start to finish, it has so much more roots with it. Where Inglourious Bastards has had a upsurge back again recently, but it didn't. I mean, it just hasn't. It's not as rooted in my like personal favorites for that reason. So.
Spirited Away is so beautiful, too. Like, if you're just thinking, like, when she's, like, going through the
So-
tall grass.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Question I have about
It's
Spirited
beautiful.
Away.
Yeah.
When did you first see it?
Oh, like
We
Yeah,
watched
when we
it
watched it for the
together.
first
Me
time,
and you
right.
were the first
When
watches.
did you first see it?
whenever I was 13, 14.
You?
Right before he picked it.
Okay, so you're the only
I'm the only
that
one with
act-
sentimental
okay.
attachment to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I would have assumed that both of you had seen it before.
thought
No,
Yeah.
he's new age animated and weeb.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
If it's not past 2018 anime or Ghibli, I probably haven't seen it. I'm new age weeb.
'Cause
He's
I
old age
had
weeb.
not seen that movie until it was picked for this.
I hadn't
Yeah.
either. I mean, can you all honestly help me pick between those two? I mean, I know where you're leaning. It genuinely is really hard for me because I love them both for different reasons. Because Spirited Away is an 1 hour, like 40-minute movie that has me the entire time. Inglourious Bastards is like 2 hours and 20 minutes that really has me at most of the movie. There are very few times when it's like, all right, we're gonna let you out for a little bit, but when it has me, it really has me.
I couldn't care
I
less.
just-
I think Inglourious Bastards, it being a comedy and it making it to the end is something to stand for, and that's awesome. But it's also a drama.
It is
and-
not a comedy
What?
by any
Are
means.
you saying Spirited Away was a comedy?
No, Inglourious
It's
Bastards.
definitely got.
It's got
comedy.
It's
comedic
Quentin
elements.
Tarantino, so it's by nature
It's-
a little bit like tongue in cheek with
It's
stuff.
drama, comedy. I would say it was the first two.
but- yeah. I mean, I guess if you're gonna put those two things. No.
I mean, they kill
I mean,
Hitler
so
and
it's
shoot
comedy.
him until he's.
That's
a
true, they
weird
blast
fake
Hitler into a
pile of
building.
flesh.
It has that
So-
scene where he's like paper and he's
Right.
just still being
Yeah,
shot.
It's very much
Quentin
a comedy,
Tarantino, by
I think.
nature's like drama, has that undertone of comedy to it. Like he's laughing
Yeah.
even as he does it, no matter what. So yeah, I'll concede that it. At first glance, it maybe isn't the title I would put on it because you think comedies and you think comedies, but then
I
you're
just
like
think
Quentin Tarantino's. Hey, would be funny if we just took Hitler. Like,
It turned him into paper mache.
Yeah.
yeah.
where's your feet, Margot Robbie? Like, you know, like,
I mean, I'm still hating to be the tiebreaker on it. I love both of these movies, but if I'm gonna turn this back for you all on that. If you're putting both of these movies in front of me, God, I still don't know what I choose. because
got-
There it is.
We have got to
Fine,
wrap
so I get
this.
to pick the
they're
winner.
they're both so different, and I love them both for so much different reasons. But for this, I will be able to. I will wrap this up because as much as I love Spirited Away, and I realize that it is the most well-known Ghibli movie for a reason, it's probably their best. I personally like Mononoke and Kiki's better. I know that nobody agrees with me on that. I just
we do.
it's just my personal
Not Kiki's
taste.
anyway.
Yeah, definitely not Kiki's, but
I
it is for
think
me.
Princess Mononoke is better than
Yeah.
Spirited Away too.
Yeah, so I mean,
Well, it's anti-establishment
What's
in
that?
Princess
Oh.
Mononoke, so of course you do. Like,
I like
Was
Kiki's
this
because there's kitty cats.
that
Witchcraft.
that too.
wait, there's
um,
cats in Spirited Away, like all over the place.
Oh, yeah. So
And frogs.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
as,
pigs.
as much as I would love to give it the nod, just for the simple reason that I
Come
was
on,
the
Warren
one.
East, why aren't you on Spirited Away now? I just told you all the farm animals.
All the farm animals.
Yeah. Okay.
All the ag.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Will you get to it?
it's-
Damn.
this is the
It's been
deciding
6
one.
hours.
Yeah, it's been 6 hours saying
Again.
glorious. We want to die.
Again, as much as I want to give it the nod, just because I picked it, I still love the movie top to bottom. It's my second favorite Tarantino movie actually. But
I mean, Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yeah.
Great. Two.
I'm going with Hateful Eight. But
Jesus, what a terrible choice.
yeah, Inglourious Basterds for me. Very closely over Spirited Away.
So, let us know what you think about ours in the comments.
So we're gonna wrap it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway, if you guys like this content, we won't do anything that's exhausting again for a long time.
It's gonna be a long time. It's taken us.
Like, keep it to 32 teams.
How long
Yeah.
have we? Has this been 2 years now? Year and a
Yeah.
half, 2
Right
years.
at it.
Over 2 years now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because our first season was like really long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's probably been 2 years in the making to get us to this video.
So for every 1 year we do this, if you could just get us 10 subscribers, I don't know if we're at 30 yet, but please, we just did
We're
this
not.
for like 5 hours. Just sub to the channel, man.
Yeah.
Just do it. Hit the bell.
Please.
So you know when we upload this crazy great content, and if you want to comment, I think that's super cool too.
We'd love to interact with you.
Yeah.
we just need comments.
We just keep getting
People
bots, mostly bots.
no, we had a guy-
Sometimes Jill.
we had a guy commenting on the Donnie Darko
Oh, did
video.
you?
Oh, well,
You
I'll
would've
have to
been
go
pleased.
answer 'em.
Yeah, I responded back to him.
Oh, we're gonna go
Yeah.
respond to him.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
We'll talk back.
Anyway.
Maybe not like promptly.
No, yeah,
We'll
like
talk back.
Well, the only one who's truly lost in all of this is my cat, because I haven't fed her yet, and it's tomorrow. That's our show, everybody. Make sure to tune in next week for
The end of the year wrap, or
Our-
end of season.
end of season wrap up officially. If you've seen it before, you'll see it again. It's this season with those questions, best of, worst of, all that jazz. You know it, you love it. Or if you don't love it, don't watch it. You know, that's America, baby. I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.
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 This wasn't the season wrap up.
No,
And we had the idiotic thought of maybe we could do all of it tonight.
We,
All of it.
I did.
mind you, I said the price no less than 3 times.
Oh my gosh!
Are
It's
you kidding me?
11:30.